Captain C.A. here, and we're going on a road trip. I want you to jump in the truck with me. We're headed to Fitzgerald Fishing in Belleview, Florida, and we're going to talk with Trevor himself. I've brought a couple of baits with me. I want to talk about rod links, rod actions, things like that. Without further ado, let's jump in the truck and go. We have arrived here at Fitzgerald Fishing. Now this an actual distribution plant for Fitzgerald, so they do have a small office here, but this is how it gets done. Come on in. Hey, bud.
Hey, come on in. How are you?
I'm doing good. Set these rods down. We'll talk about that, and you lead us back to where we're going.
All right. So this is the huge warehouse here.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah.
Hundreds upon hundreds of rods.
A couple fishing rods in here.
How did you get into this business, Trevor?
Just being a bass fisherman for so long and fishing team tournaments, pro tournaments, in I want to say 2008, 2009, my wife and I started building like custom rods for me to use personally,
right.
Fishing Bassmaster Opens and stuff like that. Then 2010, I was fortunate enough to win a Bassmaster Open on Lake Seminole. So that kind of gave our custom rods some
legs.
Yeah, some notoriety,
some validity.
So we continued, selling them to friends and everyone else that wanted them. And then in 2013, a good friend of mine, Rich Howells, won a Bass Open on Lake Kissimmee.
With one of your rods.
With our rods, right.
Yeah.
So at that point, everybody in the industry is like, all right, hang on, like all these guys are winning in Florida, with these rods, what's going on with them? And we were so well known for frogging rods, flipping rods, because that's what we do a lot here.
I saw the original series. I looked at a lot of the actions, and it did seem like most of them were pitching rods, frog rods.
Yep.
Definitely flipping rods. I mean, some sticks.
Oh yeah, meat sticks. That's how we started, and then in 2014, Tackle Warehouse reached out to us and said, hey, send us some samples. We're getting a lot of requests for your rods, to be sold through us. So kind of took off from there. Once we got in with Tackle Warehouse, it really took off from there. We started getting real serious about building our dealer network. Now we have over 140 dealers nationwide. And we not only offer the meat sticks, now we offer finesse rods, like Brian Thrift Signature Series rods.
Saltwater rods.
Inshore rods.
Offshore rods, conventional rods. Yeah, you have everything. I mean, you've been in business for over a decade now. And I mean, I met you through Sodium Fishing right there in Crystal River, which, I mean, most of what they sell is inshore and offshore rods. So.
Yes. Yep.
All right, I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. I brought a list. I even brought some baits for us to go over what action rods, what length rods would be more appropriate for some of the baits that inshore guys fish with. So we might, come over to the table here and lay them out and talk about what works.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, so I brought some lures, and Trevor and I are going to collaborate here, if you will, on what rod actions are going to throw some of these lures down here on the table best. So I even brought 3 of the rods that I've been using now. I'm going to be honest with you. The all-purpose series is what I like the most of all the Fitzgerald product that I've used so far. But I have found gems in every one of them. And the Versa series is actually a lot better series than I thought it was. The versatility that you have in that series is kind of crazy. So let me ask Trev a couple of questions about that. You guys listen in. I have put a bevy of baits here, everything from the big swim baits that I like to use, some tarpon baits with some heavier jig heads. These are things that I even throw for grouper as well. Little baits like the Bugs Click Shrimp, pop and cork offerings, some typical soft baits that all inshore anglers use. A couple of different plugs, Catch 5 and the Lip 30 there, a mini Dean, maybe a bigger plastic swim bait, something I like to skip, and then some top waters. Everything from the really small Miro Minnow, well, actually that's the Miro Mullet, to the full-size top dog, and then for those Texas guys, that fat boy. So I thought this would be a good mix for you to talk about. Let's talk tarpon first.
Okay.
If I were going to throw like a big pinfish, a mullet, something like that, probably be fishing around a bridge or maybe a deeper channel, like the Tampa shipping channel or maybe Boca Grande Pass. What rods am I looking at for tarpon fishing there? I need a stick, but I need something to throw a bait as well.
So the two options you have there is in our Stunner HD series. Okay, we have an 8-foot XH and an 8-foot XXH.
Okay.
The XH would be more of like your weightless bait, like throwing a crab or something like that. It's got a nice soft tip to it, but it's got a nice backbone. Once you hook the fish, you can handle the fish. And then the XXH, that's a meat stick. If you're throwing a real big bait or if you're fishing heavy current around a lot of structure and you really need to handle that fish, the XXH is going to be the way to go. What
about beach fishing? Or throwing lures on shallow beaches, flats like we have there in the Homosassa zone down to Arapica. So what are we looking there?
For me, I would do our Aquafin 711 extra heavy. Okay, it's going to handle everything that you want to do. Like you say, your beach fishing, everything. You put like a 6,000 or something like that on here, and it just gets the job done. It's going to handle everything you want to do.
Okay, that's good info there. All right, let's say something like a lot of my guys are going to want to talk about artificials, but let's just talk about the guy that wants to throw a popping cork or the guy that wants to throw a live bait. What type of rod is he looking at for something like that?
My choice would be like our Aquadream 7.2 medium heavy. Like that, for example, you have a 4 Horseman cork there. They're weighted, so it's a little bit heavier of a popping cork. So I would do a medium heavy versus a medium for that. A lot of guys like to throw a medium for an unweighted popping cork, but because that one's weighted, I would do a medium heavy. It's going to handle it a lot better on the cast, and it's going to handle the fish well as well.
Okay, that's good stuff. And let's just say they want to go completely weightless and just throw a pilchard, a pinfish.
Yeah.
A big select size shrimp. What rod are they looking at?
For that, I would do our Aquafin 7. This one's a 7.6 medium heavy. And I would go 7.6 in length for throwing the weightless stuff like that because you get a lot further cast distance to it.
That's right.
This rod is, this is our True Action Technology series with our Aquafin series, which means if this rod says it's a medium heavy fast, it's actually a medium heavy fast. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. A lot of other rods are mislabeled. It's in our industry. What one company's medium heavy fast is totally different than somebody else. But we truly feel like when we label it a medium heavy fast, it's a medium heavy fast. And
I have found that because Fitzgerald Fishing is a brand that made its bones throwing artificial lures, you guys understand the moderate fast action, the fast action, the extra fast action.
Absolutely.
You guys really get it. Yeah. And that's what makes them such effective tools in the bass industry. But now we've got rods that will do the same thing for these baits as well.
Yeah.
So let me ask you about these next. These baits here I love to throw. These are the Mulletron line through and the 6-inch Hercules. I throw the 5-inch quite a bit. And naturally I want to throw them on a plug rod. What plug rod in the Fitzgerald lineup is going to do a good job with that?
For me, I would do like a casting rod for that, and that would be our all-purpose 7.6 heavy. This rod's labeled for 1/2 ounce to 2 ounce. I've personally used line through swim baits that weigh up to 3 ounces on this rod with zero issues. And really, when you're throwing a bait that heavy, you need a rod that's going to be able to handle that bait on the cast, not only fight the fish.
That's right. That's where I find it, because with those baits, I'm literally fishing for big snook. I'm fishing for bull redfish. That's sometimes these nearshore grouper that we have here on the west coast of Florida.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have a stick.
If you don't have a rod that can handle that bait on the cast, you're going to limit your distance, your casting distance. You really need a rod with a lot of backbone like this 7.6 heavy. This thing, it's not a meat stick. Okay?
That's right.
But it shuts off right here. That way it loads very nice to get those maximum distance with a bait that heavy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, what happens when we want to throw baits like this time of year? I throw this little TRD Neds a lot. I'll throw this little click shrimp a lot. One of the rods that I have found that's done a really good job for me is this Aquafin here. In fact, I rigged this up because I just did a deal on it. That is very good Ned rod in the Aquafin series, but
Yeah.
Versa makes one. You have one in the Versa series that's a Ned rod.
We have a 6.9 medium spinning rod in the Versa series. You know, similar action to this rod, it's just a little bit shorter, but it's an amazing rod. But this one would be my personal pick. You know, this Aquafin series it's just one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's done a really, really good job. That's cool. All right, and spoons. You know, I didn't put a spoon up in this lineup, but spoon fishing is pretty big, and I have found the medium action in the Aquafin series with a 3000 reel has been really good for me. So these are my rods that I brought in. I've been testing because Trevor and I are working on a project that might bring even more inshore rods into the Fitzgerald lineup. So he's been letting me sample a lot of rods, and that's what I'm here today, is to sample rods. So that we can get the right mix. But I do like that Aqua Dream series.
You guys it's just got the right action. You know, it's fast, has a nice soft tip.
That's
right. That's a fun rod. I mean, fighting a trout or a redfish on this rod it's enjoyable.
It is.
You know, you fight the fish. You know, you're not just reeling them straight to the boat. You actually get to fight the fish, and it's a lot of fun with
It'll throw a lot of light stuff really, really well.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's talk about treble hook baits a little bit. You about the suspenders, all these baits that have treble hooks, the Paul Brown, the Miradine, even the lip plug here and the Catch 5. That takes a rod that will cast a number of different weighted plugs. So not one rod's going to do it all, but you also have to have that forgiveness so that you don't open hooks up. You keep fish on.
Right.
What are you looking at, for instance, if you're throwing something like the Catch 5 on a plug rod, or maybe even that mirror lip bait? What do you think?
For me, it would be in our all-purpose series, and it's a 7-foot medium heavy. You know, it's rated for 1/4 to 3/4, and it's just a phenomenal casting rod. It does it all, you know, especially when it comes to those treble hook baits, you know, like you said, the subsurface, the top water. It casts them very well, and it's soft enough in the tip to once you get the hook in them, you don't pull the hook.
That's right.
You know, even in heavy current.
There's got to be some forgiveness. I even, with the smaller little twitch baits like my Miradine here, I was fishing with clients the other day, and you can see that I've got some fluorocarbon on that instead of braid. Something I'm testing out right now for the Diamond brand. But you can see right here, this is a nice lightweight versatile rod, but it will not pull a hook. And when you're fishing for softmouth trout, that thing has been absolutely dynamite. Yeah. One of the things I like about the Versa series is the fact that it tells you, you know, when you're looking at the description online, it tells you what baits they throw well.
Right.
You know?
Even
it's denoted on the rods.
We put it on each model of the Versa series, and you know, that was with the Versa series. That's our price point rod. Retails $139.99. Okay, maybe a guy that doesn't want to spend $189 on a rod maybe needs more suggestions as far as, all right, I have this list of baits in mind. I want to know what rod's going to do it all. So that's why we came up with putting it on each rod in the Versa series.
I like it.
You know, it just helps everybody choose the right rod for the technique they're throwing. The Versa series is amazing. 3/16 stainless guides, so saltwater approved. And it's just,
in fact,
awesome.
Really all of the components that you have on every rod, whether it be saltwater or freshwater, because I saw that right there on your website, they're all rated for inshore. You could use all of them inshore, and they're not going to have rust issues with a little bit of care.
Right, and that's the neat thing about our brand is we're fishermen too. You know, my background's bass fishing, but I grew up fishing the St. Johns River. Well, there's a lot of salt in the St. Johns River, you know, and with some other guides that we used in the early days on our rods, I would notice, you know, I'd come home from fishing, I wouldn't rinse my stuff off. I mean, I feel like I'm fishing a freshwater body of water, you know.
That's right.
So I'm not treating it like I'm fishing salt water, although there's a lot of salt in that water. And I would notice a lot of surface rust on, like, say, 304 stainless or some other, you know, metals. So we started trying these American Tackle in their 3/16 stainless, and we don't have any issues.
Yeah.
And so we're like, you know what? If we don't have issues, that means our customers aren't going to have issues.
That's right.
So we overbuild it. We overbuild everything we offer, for our customers. And it's, again, it goes back to because this is the stuff we use, on a day-to-day basis. We want to be right.
What's nice about Fitzgerald Fishing to me is it's kind of a boutique brand, but it is kind of mainstream as well.
Right.
Because, I mean, it's a very recognizable name in the bass industry, but you guys are gaining a lot of traction in saltwater now.
Yeah, we are. We love the saltwater stuff. We've got a lot of charter captains are our friends. In teaming up with you, it's exciting because we tournament fish for a living, but we saltwater fish for fun. So it's kind of like it's our hobby, and we want to be involved with it, and we really like offering, good stuff for our customers.
Okay, that's great. Awesome, good stuff. Learned a lot. Now you've got a pretty good idea of how much versatility within the product lines that we have here at Fitzgerald. Next, I'm wanting to sample some more rods, so I'm going to ask Trevor about a couple of different models, and one he's already sold me on. That's kind of, I wanted a tarpon rod that was maybe a big snook rod for passes and things like that, or maybe bull redfish out there in Louisiana when we're throwing big topwater plugs. And it looks like that Aquafin series, the 711 extra heavy, is going to be that rod. So I definitely want to sample that. Believe it or not, let me show you these trophies over here. It'll blow your mind. He's got Brian Thrift on staff. And Thrifty is probably one of the fishiest of all bass guys. And he takes home a lot of stuff. And those are probably your trophies, but he's in those are his trophies.
Yeah.
But he's in that mix. He's that guy. But I'm telling you right now that his drop shot Ned rod in the Thrift series is a good one, and I would definitely want to try that. I also got on here, a lot of you guys like to skip baits, and most of us do it with spinning gear in salt water, but I do it with a lot of casting gear. I've been using like that 7.3 heavy in the AP series, but I want to try Thrift's SS69 heavy, and that MJ73M micro jig rod.
Yeah.
That would be a good rod.
Going back to the skipping baits, I have another one you're probably going to want to take home with you.
Okay.
We just got them Friday. It's Brian's new. It's the Skipping Special XL. So it's a 7.1 instead of being a 6.9.
Oh,
so
I'd probably rather have that. Better for a guy like my size.
Absolutely. And that's why we came out with the 7.1. The 6.9 we've offered for several years now. And it is an amazing. It's the skipping rod in the industry. Wow. Okay. But Brian came up with the idea because we've had a lot of customers that are like, listen, I'm 6 foot. The 6.9's nice, but can we get like a 7.1? Yeah. So we got it for him. We did it.
Nice.
And we have them now.
Nice. Definitely want to try that. And then after looking at the more conventional tarpon rods for the deeper passes, I definitely want to try those. I've got those. Big swim baits, like these big swim baits. Something like the BG 710 Heavy. What do you think about that? That's the Buddy Gross series.
Yeah.
Is that a worthwhile effort for that, or is there a better alternative to that BG? Because 710 is going to let you throw it a long way. That's a long rod.
It is. Yeah.
That is a long rod. Topwater suspenders, the Versus 7.2 medium heavy spinner, and the 6.9 for the Ned rig. I just want those because the Versus series is a good series.
It is.
I mean, for the money, that's a good series. And then the Versus 7.6 medium heavy and the 7-foot medium heavy for lip baits, maybe. Mm-hmm. The Versus 6.8 medium heavy topwater and small Paul Browns. Would that be a good choice?
It would.
That would be a good one.
It's a nice short little rod where you can twitch it real easy.
And then maybe for Mirrodines, AP 7.3 medium. I think you already brought that out.
Yes.
You actually said that was a good rod, and I already had it on the list for that. AP 7.3 extra heavy for the bigger, the bigger swim jigs, and for, like the diesel minnows, and even these Mullitrons and Hercules. And then finally the AP 7.6 HC on the casting side for the corky baits, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're kind of bulky, and you want to be able to sling them a long way.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Big times to sling them a long way. So we're going to walk through all the bins and pick some of that stuff out. And then Trevor and I are going to have to talk some top secret stuff that you guys can't know about until next year. But we're working on something for you.